welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have another results video. This time it is with Full Gear 2025. This was another pretty fun show from AEW, a huge return at the end of the night with a lot of title changes throughout the entire night as well. But overall, how'd you enjoy the show?
Yeah, the show was pretty good. I would say the matches ended up all being good, but maybe I didn't agree with the winner choice. But yeah.
Yeah, let's kick things off on the pre-show. Quickly wrapping up that, we had the Bang Bang Gang winning the $200,000 Fatal 4-Way match. We had Big Boom, AJ, and QT Marshall winning the tag team match. And then we had Hook and Eddie Kingston winning their tag team match. And then we had the Mystico, Masquerada, and Neon taking on the Don Callis family members. And they ended up winning, which kind of bled into the main show. We seen Okada kind of wait for the show to officially start. And then they kind of got their match underway. But yeah, this was another little fun match. Like I said, El Sky team retains the titles. But now going into the main show, we kicked off the night with a big one, and that was Pac taking on Darby Allin, where you seen Pac surprisingly defeat Darby Allin.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the matches where I feel like it's the wrong winner. I feel like Darby hasn't been having good character development, I guess. He kind of been the same character since he came into AEW, and I feel like when he came back from the Mount Everest trip, people expected a lot more out of him, or at least a lot more success out of him as far as dismantling the Death Riders. And we just haven't really gotten that. If anything, the Death Riders dismantled him more than what he did to them. So, yeah, definitely disagree with the choice of winner, but the match was amazing.
Yeah, I do agree that this match was one of the better matches on the night. I think this was a good showcase of what Darby Allin can do without all the crazy theatrics and all the crazy weapons and stuff like that. He was able to put on a good wrestling match. But in the end, like you said, Pac does get the win. To be fair, it was with the help of Wheeler Yuta causing a distraction, and then, well, with the baseball bat that Darby has, he did end up using that to take out Darby, which would give him the win. So I think on paper it does look pretty bad, considering this is kind of a layup win for Darby, but for Pac to win, I'm not too fussed on with how he won, but it does suck for Darby to continue a losing streak, but losing again to a Death Rider and seemingly not being the guy to finish off the Death Riders. But next up, we had a fatal 4-way women's tag team match between the Timeless Love Bombs, Babes of Wrath, and the Sisters of Sin, and Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne. This is all for the final 4 teams of the women's tag team tournament, and the winner of this match would get to choose their stipulation in their next match. And your winners of this match was the Timeless Love Bombs, Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, so they will be able to pick their stipulation for their match.
Yeah, I feel like this match was really slow. I didn't really care for the first probably like maybe 8 minutes of the match. It was just very slow paced, and I feel like it took them a while to kind of get into the groove of things and kind of develop some kind of chemistry with 8 different women being part of the match. So it's kind of a little bit difficult with people from other teams tagging in people from other teams. That's why I always feel like matches like this should just be tornado style, where everyone's just involved fighting on the inside, outside, and just make it a big brawl. But yeah, Timeless Love Bombs do win. Obviously, they're the biggest team in the group. I did pick Megan Bayne in my prediction, so that's kind of who I was hoping to win. But I still do think Megan Bayne will come out on top at the end of the tournament regardless.
Yeah, this match, I don't think it was as good as I kind of wanted it to be or expected it to be, but I do like that Toni Storm and Mina get the win. I kind of assumed that we wouldn't see Megan and Marina get the win here, just because the numbers advantage, too many teams to kind of control for them, but in the end, like I said, Timeless Love Bombs get the win. I'll keep struggling with the name, but yeah, this was a pretty solid match. I wish we seen a little bit more of the Sisters of Sin. I feel like they didn't get too much time. Same thing with Babes of Wrath. I feel like they didn't get too much time, but overall, I think everyone did have at least a little segment to kind of get their moves in. And then next up for the AEW World Tag Team Champions, we've seen Brodito put up their champions against FTR, and this time FTR come out on top and are your new AEW World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, this is going to be another one where I disagree with the winner. As if y'all been watching the channel, y'all know I've never been a huge fan of Brodito, but recently they have been winning me over more. And Brody King is one of my favorites. So I was kind of getting behind them a little bit more, and right whenever I did, they kind of pulled the trigger on them losing. And then it was to FTR, and then when they did win, I also expected like a Edge or Christian or just some kind of thing to happen there because there was like a little moment after where they were celebrating. It kind of looked like something would happen, but we didn't get it. Good match. But just not my favorite result, and I don't think the match was particularly amazing either.
I'm on the other side, honestly. I did really enjoy this one. And with going into the Continental Classic, I feel like we will see both these guys in that tournament. So I kind of feel like that's going to play into kind of it. But FTR winning does feel kind of repetitive. Obviously, they are a former tag team champion, but it is a team that, they can always win the tag team belts and always believable just because they are very decorated and a team that's going to be around and has been for a while now. But yeah, I did really enjoy this match. FTR, I think, winning could be really good for the tag team division, kind of like restarting things. Now we have Jungle Express back in the mix. The Young Bucks are back. So FTR being there as well feels like the original big three teams of AEW minus the Lucha Brothers are pretty much all there. So it is nice to see the old teams back on top. But I feel like this won't be a very long title run for FTR.
Yeah.
The next up, we had the inaugural AEW National Championship Casino Gauntlet match, where we've seen Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin kick off the match, but in the end, it would be Ricochet who becomes the first ever AEW National Champion.
Yeah, this was a pretty good match. The only thing I didn't really care for was it felt like it was almost a tag team match in form of a casino gauntlet because we had the Hurt Syndicate in there, we had Ricochet, and the DOA people were ringside doing different things. We seen Jet Speed in there as well. So it kind of felt a little weird because, obviously it's just a lot of tag teams. But the crowd did rise a lot when Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey had a quick little face-off. They definitely rose on their feet and got excited for that because that would be a very exciting match in the future. But yeah, I feel like the right person won with Ricochet. I didn't necessarily want Bobby Lashley to win, even though that was kind of the pick going into this match for sure.
Yeah, I definitely did enjoy this match. I did expect some big returns or some big, huge debut for somebody, but obviously we didn't end up getting that. And I think that's okay. I think that is just kind of my fault for having that expectation that every Casino Gauntlet or every big tournament type of match is going to have, a return. But I do really like Ricochet. I think he's a great first champion, somebody who will put on great matches. He's willing to probably go to other companies and defend it like the national title has been represented so far. So yeah, I do like Ricochet. I did also like you mentioned between Kevin Knight and Speedball, and I also like the finishes as well, where we see Kevin Knight hit his big frog splash onto Wheeler Yuta, then Ricochet hits his hidden blade-esque move, I forget what he calls it, and then ends up getting the pin on Kevin Knight. So yeah, really fun match and a good way to kind of keep things going, and like I said, big things for Ricochet for this new national title as well. And then next up, in a no-holds-barred match, we seen Jon Moxley go up against Kyle O'Reilly after their big brawl at Blood and Guts, where we seen Kyle O'Reilly pin or tap out Jon Moxley, and we have the history repeating itself once again because Kyle O'Reilly taps out Jon Moxley once again.
Yeah, this was a really good match. I feel like Moxley, obviously whenever he's in singles matches that don't involve weapons or anything, it could be a little less to be desired with Jon Moxley. However, with someone like Kyle O'Reilly, I feel like he didn't necessarily, obviously there was weapons and all that involved in this match, but I feel like he didn't even need it with the way that they were moving around in the ring because Kyle O'Reilly is just that good of like a mat wrestler, I guess, and submission specialist. I almost feel like they maybe should have made this a submission match and played more into it that way, but obviously I would lean more towards Kyle O'Reilly's favor than Moxley's. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was very good stuff. We seen the Fork get involved once again, which that's a spot that I'm really loving, and honestly the Moxley downfall is kind of one of my favorite things in wrestling right now, that I'm just kind of curious as far as what's going to happen with the story and when are they going to turn on him, or if they're going to turn on him, or what the case is going to be. But yeah, the downfall of Moxley is something that I'm very interested in right now.
Yeah, I think it's really surprising that it is Kyle O'Reilly to be the man right now, to be able to do this. But I'm definitely not against it. I'm very much for it. I think Kyle O'Reilly is somebody who, when he originally got to AEW, it was something that like, oh wow, this could be really big. Adam Cole's there. You have Roderick Strong there. Then you had Bobby Fish at the time. And then ever since then, he had kind of a few injuries that kind of lingered him around for a little bit. And then he was kind of a side character for a little while. But now, kind of portraying a main character type of role right now. So hopefully we get some big things. Unfortunately, it was said that he won't be in the Continental Classic. He was expected to be in it, but due to injuries, he won't be able to make it. So it does suck for Kyle, because I do think he would have had a good run in it. Probably a Kyle versus Kyle match, because that was something that we also get announced later on in the night. But yeah, really fun match. I do like Kyle O'Reilly winning here, and yeah, hopefully some big stuff coming in for him in the next year.
Yeah, big bloody match here too.
And then next up, we had a no DQ match, but this time for the TNT champion. We're seeing Kyle Fletcher go one up against Mark Briscoe. And this time, in the sixth match, Mark Briscoe gets back his dub, and we see Mark Briscoe as your new TNT champion.
Now, this is one where, I'm kind of split on how I feel about it, because the moment of obviously him winning, him just looking up to the sky, obviously, for his brother and whatnot after he did win the title, that's such a cool moment and good moment. But I do feel like it wasn't necessarily time for Fletcher to lose just yet. I was really picking up on him. I think everyone has been very much a lot higher on Kyle Fletcher recently. He's been doing a lot of good stuff, particularly in this match. He looked amazing. And everything he's done has been good. So for him to lose the title, obviously it sucks. But, maybe we could push him to the world title. But that also kind of feels like a stretch right now for him. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious what they'll do with him. He did announce that he will be in the Continental Classic. Maybe, I think something with an injury may have happened with him as well, though. So I guess we'll hear more about that in the future. But yeah, all the Don Callis family members will be in the Continental Classic, at least as of right now, as far as Takeshita, Okada, and Kyle Fletcher. So very interesting storyline stuff going on with the Don Callis family. And yeah, Mark Briscoe will not be joining them.
Yeah, this was a match that I think you kind of mentioned that it would be a little risky on to do again, because it's something that we've seen for the sixth time now, and it was, at least in the no DQ match or stipulation on it. But I am really glad that Mark Briscoe gets the win here. It kind of felt like that, because it didn't seem like he would go and join the Don Callis family, but it also didn't feel like Kyle Fletcher was going to lose the belt, so they had a good story going on. But yeah, Mark Briscoe being able to pick up the win here, I'm really happy for him. They had a phenomenal match, a lot of big bumps. We've seen Tax get involved. We've seen a table of chairs kind of set out where Mark Briscoe did his little flip and kind of hit his head pretty hard on one of the chairs on the very end. But that was a really cool spot. And then we seen a big froggy bow from the top of a ladder onto a table. And then we also seen a barbed wire table as well. So a lot going on in this match, a lot to watch from it. But yeah, really fun match. And then also, guys, it's worth noting that we also got a custom Mark Briscoe TNT champion as well. And it has like the black and white camo kind of pattern going around the belt. So kind of cool for him. Unfortunately, we didn't get that for Kyle Fletcher, which definitely sucks, because it was something that everybody kind of wanted, was a nice pink TNT title. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. But we get Mark Briscoe with his camo champion. So yeah, hopefully big things for this TNT run from Mark Briscoe. And yeah, hopefully he has a good run with this champion. And then next up, we seen the $1 Million Trios match between the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander versus the Jungle Express versus Kenny Omega. And we seen the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander pick up the win. But at the very end of this match, we do see a face turn from the Young Bucks.
Yeah, this is surprisingly going to be my least favorite match of the night. I just really didn't care for this, and I feel like they didn't really grab my attention there in this match. I kind of like the ending. That was very good. That definitely gives it a lot of positive points with the Bucks turn. I thought that I wouldn't like it, but I did actually end up liking it, at least in the moment. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of back to where we were in like 2020 AEW or something, where the Elites together, FTR tag team champions, Jurassic Express is hanging around, and Eddie Kingston's back, and yeah, it just kind of feels like we're going backwards a little bit, as far as I don't really understand what's going on with this, but I guess I just need more time for them to tell their story to find out why everything is happening.
Yeah, I think it is maybe a little bit played out now with the entire Young Bucks, the Elite kind of breaking apart, getting back together, breaking apart, getting back together. But I do think that it also makes for good TV at times as well, and I think it will be no different this time around. I think the Young Bucks and Kenny will go on to have some good matches, whether that is in the Trios division or we see them kind of be together, but also go back to how it used to be, where we've seen Kenny in that singles division going for that world champion, while the Young Bucks dominated the tag team division as tag team champions. So yeah, I do think, although the split could be, or the reunion could be a little bit watered down at this point, I do think it will still be pretty good. And I think in the end, it will pay off, because it feels like this could be the last time we will see them kind of reuniting for once and for all. So yeah, who knows how this, elite storyline will go, but they usually do a pretty good job on what they do. And then next up, we had the AEW Women's World Champion on the line, where Kris Statlander finally gets her rematch with Mercedes Moné. Obviously, Mercedes Moné, with all the belts, going to collect that World Champion. But unfortunately for her, but fortunately for everybody else, Kris Statlander retains her World Champion and finally gets a win over Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, this was a big win for Kris Statlander to finally get the win back over Mercedes after losing the first two. Man, she looked really good in this one. Had a lot of callbacks to just random moments throughout Mercedes' career with the Bailey to belly into the crossface and different things of that nature. We also see Mercedes do the sunset flip into the corner like Bailey does as well. So a lot of things involving Bailey. We also seen a picture of them happen after the match at some point together. But yeah, this was just a really good match. I was definitely satisfied with the result. I didn't want Mercedes to defeat Kris. I feel like that would have kind of killed all the momentum that we built for her. And then also another thing to talk about with Kris Statlander is her entrance that she had. There was a cool, I'm assuming it was Dragon Ball Z inspired, like one of the capsule pods coming from space or whatever, and it hit the stage and then she came out of it or whatever. But yeah, I'm assuming it was Dragon Ball Z related, but maybe I'll be wrong on that. But very cool either way. But yeah, the match was good. Mercedes looked better than ever, of course, and yeah, I'm happy with the result, happy with the match, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job with how they've told this Mercedes Moné kind of, being one of the best women, not only in AEW, but of just wrestling period right now. And she has, when you beat her, it means a lot. We've seen Toni Storm beat her. Unfortunately, that match didn't have the build that we kind of wanted it to, but it was very surprising when we've seen Toni win, because it was like, wow, Mercedes finally had a loss. But then now going into this match, Kris Statlander having that loss already to her, it was kind of like, ooh, this is a little bit scary. We don't want Mercedes to win the world champion as well now. But surprisingly to us, they did let Kris Statlander get the win here. I think this will help her a lot. I don't think this will be the downfall of Mercedes Moné, unfortunately, but I do think we might start seeing some more cracks in the Mercedes Moné kind of future going down. So yeah, I think Kris had a really good match here. I really enjoyed it. Like you said, I like the entrance as well. But yeah, I think this will be a big turning point for Kris, and then continuing this world title reign, I think we'll be in for something really fun from her.
Yeah, I'm very curious who's going to be up next for her, as well as for Mercedes Moné, because we've seen her have backstage segments recently with Athena, kind of going off at her for obviously losing their tag team match that they've had recently. And then Athena went to Billy Starks and said, yeah, I should have picked you. I shouldn't have went with Mercedes. So they're kind of playing more into that. So I'm kind of thinking we'll get more Athena and Mercedes in the near future.
Yeah. And then next up in the main event, we had the steel cage match for the men's world champion between Hangman Adam Page and Samoa Joe. Another rematch as we've seen from Wrestle Dream. But this time around, we did get a different result, because Samoa Joe is now a 2-time AEW World Champion.
Yeah, and this is going to be another one of the results that I don't really care for. I've never really been a huge Joe fan, period, so obviously maybe it's a little bit of biasness coming from me. But yeah, I feel like you didn't necessarily need Hangman to lose to do anything that happened during this match. I feel like the Hook swerve could have happened, which I guess we'll get into that right now as well, is the big turning point, and the reason why Hangman Adam Page did end up losing the match was Hook. Well, at first Eddie Kingston came out to help him, and he actually does help him. He fights off Hobbs or Shibata, I believe it was, and then Hook comes out later on, and it looks like he's gonna save him. However, he takes the belt, hits Adam Page with it, then helps the ref up, and yeah, helps Samoa Joe get the big win, reveals that he has the op shirt on and he's part of the op still. Now the question with that is going to be, him and Eddie Kingston just had a match together earlier on the card. So does that mean Eddie Kingston is part of it? And if he is, then why was he fighting off Shibata? So I'm assuming Eddie Kingston is not part of this, and you will see some sort of feud between Eddie Kingston and Hook going next. But there's a lot of questions surrounding this one, and yeah, I just don't feel like anything that happened necessarily needed Hangman to lose his belt. It was a short run after a really good moment. He's put on banger matches, every match that he's had since winning the title, and I definitely felt like it was too soon, because there's no person to defeat Joe now. unless obviously you just do Swerve or Hangman again, which that kind of puts us right back in the position where we were around this time last year. So I'm just very curious of what's going to happen. I don't necessarily like almost anything involved with this. I don't like the hook turn. I don't like that Joe won. I don't like that Hangman lost. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. But with all that being said, I will say the match was amazing. Joe was a bloody mess right off rip. Hangman was a bloody mess. I love the spot where Hobbs, he ripped off the door, which I didn't really like the ripping off the door part because I kind of called that would happen. But what that did allow was for Hangman to get to the outside and be able to get his buckshot lariat off, which was very cool to see. But yeah, the match was really good, but I just kind of hated everything about the match outside of the actual wrestling.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite side where I did really enjoy this match as well. But I did like what's kind of going on with it. I think Hook, this could be a big turning point for what he can be in AEW. He's been around for quite some time now, and it feels like he's never got going off the ground running with what he's kind of this young guy that AEW wants to build as their own, but unfortunately hasn't been able to really showcase that so much so far. But now turning heel, realigning with the Ops, I think could be a really cool story. Like you said, Eddie Kingston, I think him versus Eddie probably won't be the best of matches, but I think will make for good segments and good promos on TV. But in the end, with Swerve returning, I think as well, I think we'll see a reconnection between Hangman and Joe now, or Hangman and Swerve, to kind of put their differences aside, even though they've already kind of done that, but doing it again and kind of not maybe officially being a tag team, but being some sort of like alliance now between the two. But yeah, I don't mind Samoa Joe winning. I like the way he did it. I think it still makes Hangman look pretty good because he did get 2 visual counts on Samoa Joe before while the ref was down. But in the end, with Samoa Joe hitting that muscle buster on the champion, it does really hard to kick out of that. So yeah. Samoa Joe being the champion, I'm not too against. When he was a champion last time, I really enjoyed it. I think he'll make some good segments on TV. And yeah, I think he won't have a long reign either, similar to what FTR will be. But yeah, I think this will be a good little turn of the tide. And hopefully this sets up somebody else to eventually dethrone him. Whether that is Swerve or Hangman or somebody who's not even in the mix right now. I think could be really fun. But yeah, really fun match nonetheless.
Yeah, I think, the big thing about this card is kind of what I mentioned at the beginning is I really like every single match on the card as far as the wrestling goes, outside of maybe 1 or 2. But it's just some of the results I didn't like, some of the storyline things I didn't like, things of that nature. But as far as the actual wrestling, this was an amazing night of professional wrestling. I do wish maybe we got a little bit more women matches on here, but at the same time we did have 8 wrapped up in 1 match, so maybe that made it a little hard.
But with all our matches to recap, what was your favorite match of the night?
I'll probably say probably Pac versus Darby Allin. Even though I did hate the result, I feel like it was just a really good match. We've seen everything that you wanted to see out of it. Pac looks like a monster. He's almost looking like he could be the new leader of the Death Riders once Moxley is gone. And I feel like the match was just really good, just wrestling. We've seen Darby be more of a mat wrestler during that match and showing what he actually could do, like actually wrestling and not just getting tossed around, but we also got him getting tossed around too. So yeah, just a great match.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the FTR and Brodito one. I think that was really fun. I think, FTR does tag team matches, probably the best out of almost any tag team in AEW besides the Young Bucks. But then Brodito as well. I think being a 2 singles wrestlers really and kind of going together into this tag team reign. I think they've done a phenomenal job with the belts and going to the Continental Classic. I'm assuming they will have a great run in that tournament, and maybe we see them reconnect, but I'm also not too surprised or against if they never kind of get back together. But a very fun match as well. But yeah, that is the Full Gear card fully wrapped up. Our next show from AEW is going to be World's End. But next week we do have Survivor Series, so make sure to be on the lookout for predictions then. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you guys in the next one.